On today's episode of Titus and Tate, it is official. This will be our last season doing the podcast tape because we have news now. We can confirm. Sources are confirming that your beloved North Carolina Tar Heels will be traveling to Assembly Hall.
Oh yes,
to play Indiana,
oh,
and then like 10 days later, 11 days later, something like that. I haven't counted. There's no way of knowing. We don't have the technology to count how many days in between. But not long after Carolina plays at IU, Ohio State Carolina will be playing in Madison Square Garden. That is the big news in our world. We already knew Ohio State Carolina were going to play, but now
like 21 days apart, I believe.
Is it 21?
Yeah, I think it's December 20th, right? Is the game against Ohio State versus Carolina?
All right, well there you go. 21. I guess we do have the technology.
Well, that was my brain. Don't fact check it. Don't Google.
The point is, we are. It is going to be an interesting stretch for this show, and the dream matchup we were hoping for, Indiana North Carolina, is in fact happening. Tate, it's happening.
Which begs the question: why will the Hoosiers only play us at home? Why will they not come to Chapel Hill? They are scared to come to Chapel Hill. They haven't come since the 80s. And look, I understand how the Big Ten ACC Challenge works. Carolina had a home game last year. They're going to play away this year. But Mark Titus, the people are asking that. But also, on a good high note, on terms for the show, my parents want to come to Assembly Hall.
Oh, really?
And they want to meet your parents, and they want Coach Titus to give them the tour of Bloomington. Because Carolina people, we have respect for IU. You know what I mean? We come up there humble. We're not expecting anything great, and we respect that you guys have, a prestigious institution of basketball.
My dad giving your dad a tour of Indiana would be, would be electric content for the people.
I think we filmed that, and you and I just narrated as they're talking. You know what I mean? They're leading the whole thing, and we're more just giving like some side commentary.
Yeah, I'm just along for the ride at that point. To answer your question, though, Jim Delaney is the answer. Jim Delaney is a North Carolina guy. We know this. But Jim Delaney, the one thing he loves more than his alma mater is the Big Ten Conference. And he knows that the only thing I know he's not the commissioner anymore, but let's be honest, he's the
Colangelo of the Big Ten.
He's the David Stern to Kevin Warren's Adam Silver. Let's put it that way. And the Indiana has to. I think like the legacy of Jim Delaney is that Indiana has to get a big win in the ACC Big Ten Challenge so that we can declare Indiana back. And I think Jim Delaney, I think it's it's like the Bill Self special where he lays down in Stillwater. I think that's Jim Delaney. It's like he orchestrates North Carolina to come get slaughtered at Assembly Hall for the good of the conference. Every so often.
It's for the good of basketball, honestly.
Yeah.
And I want this Carolina team, like in typical Roy Williams fashion, right? When you have a good team that wants to win it all, we got to get them bought in early. So we got to get humbled a little bit. So Indiana, Trace Jackson Davis, feels like that kind of game. And for Woody, right? You and I, Mike Woodson guys. So it's going to be a great game.
I also need you to explain to me what's going on in the world of rap music, because rap music, this is not news. I experienced this when I was at Ohio State, and I would have to listen to Lil Wayne lyrics over and over again in weight rooms. But rap music and basketball, as we know, are intertwined, Tate. But the big news that I'm seeing right now is that the marriage is getting even stronger, because the Big 12 is apparently about to hire Jay-Z's chief operating officer to be their commissioner. The Rock Nation COO,
the Rock sign up, is
about to be the Big 12 commissioner. Meanwhile, Robert Dillingham, who's a Kanye guy, is a Donda Academy guy, just committed to Kentucky. Mm-hmm. After he was at NC State, right? He decommitted from NC State, and now he's going to Kentucky. Master P's son is walking on at Louisville. There's just a lot of angles going on in the rap world / basketball world, and I need you to explain them to me. So maybe we'll talk about that.
Can't wait. Can't wait to talk about that.
Colorado Avalanche also won the Stanley Cup. We might talk about that. I don't know. It's a free for all show. It's our first. The NBA's over, dude. How exciting is that? That we can go back
done.
We're done talking about
talk about Kyrie, but Kyrie boring.
We'll see. We'll see what comes up. But first,
Woody Durham.
All right, let's start the show with the big news in our universe, which is that Tate has texted Jim and I both like 5 different times about how he's going to see the new Elvis movie. He saw the new Elvis movie. He has thoughts on the new Elvis movie. I got to be honest, this was the Elvis movie was in the same category as the Minions movie, and that I had no idea it even existed. And then someone pointed out to me that it existed, and I was like,
I've heard the
me?
Minions movie. I've heard the Minions movie is doing well, by the way. Like the critics.
Dude, stop it. It was like I have that feeling of like I'm not. It's not that I hate it. It's that I can't even tell if you're serious that this movie exists.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about the Minions. I was like, is this like some sort of psyop going on right now? That like,
don't worry, Puss in Boots is coming out later this summer. if that gets you going.
So I felt that way about the Elvis movie because I do not. I did not hear a single word that this movie even existed until you texted me, I'm going to see the Elvis movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is the Elvis movie? And then like 3 hours later, you texted us and you're like, saw the Elvis movie, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, thumbs up. Thumbs up. I mean, look.
So give your review. Give your take us to the cinema, Tate. Give us your
my mom is, she is, an entertainment lover and, knows what's up and, loves like from the OGs to the current day. She was like, I'm going to see Elvis because of Austin Butler, right? She's like, this guy was on Kelly Clarkson's show. My mom's watching Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson brings on Austin Butler. He's like, I play the piano. I sang everything. And the guy's got charisma for days. I didn't know who Austin Butler was, but anyways,
I don't know who Austin Butler is. He sounds like he sounds like a 4-star recruit that's going to Marquette or something.
He dated Vanessa Hudgens. That was like the only thing I really knew, that she had a boyfriend and his name was Austin Butler. But anyways, this guy put in the work, Titus, right? He spent 5 months. I'm like helping gas up his Oscar campaign because he was so good in this movie. And my grandma, my dad's dad, loved Elvis, right? I remember like my grandma playing Elvis and like trying to tell us how big of a star Elvis was all the time. You know what I mean? So like, and my mom didn't really like Elvis, but she was like, I like Austin Butler. So we're going to this movie. I don't know anything really about Elvis, but I go into this movie. Austin Butler spent 5 months, watching all the videos of Elvis, learning how to do the mannerisms, like, method acting. The guy just goes into it.
Just like move your hips a little bit.
I mean, right. I mean, seriously. But the way he talked and the way he, like, his mannerisms, right. It was great. He did a great job. And it made me learn about Elvis. And this was, I didn't know that Elvis was like, grew up in the freaking ghetto and like went to, black churches and all. I was like, now this makes a lot of sense where Elvis got this hip swing. And it's crazy because they used to put him on TV, Titus, and they would not show below the waist, right? So like they would only show him top up because his hips were lying.
Elvis the pelvis, baby.
Elvis the pelvis, you know what I mean? So it was great to see that and great to see Graceland. And anyways, Austin Butler did a great job kind of capturing Elvis. And me and my mom, we saw Elton John at the same theater, Rocket Man, and that was, I thought, a great biopic. And this was in the same vein. Think it should be nominated. Austin Butler should be nominated. Go see Elvis the Pelvis. If you got time, folks, go to the theaters.
Would you say the movie is seedy, for lack of a better word? Like, does it get into like the
No, it was very a glossed over version of Elvis. It was very like, you know what I mean? Like you could tell that Lisa Marie and Priscilla obviously were a part of putting this movie out. And, Elvis died at 42. And the last like 2 years is when he was like eating fried banana sandwiches, in the jungle room. Like that was like that era. They didn't show really much of that. They just kind of was like, and then Elvis was fat. And like Austin Butler was still like not fat, but they got him fat like at the very, very end. But it was the definitely glossed over version. But it was also cool because if you like Memphis and Beale Street, to see BB King like hanging out and like Little Richard early on, you know what I mean? And then Elvis is the only white guy in there, and they're writing these articles and they're like, Elvis is a Satanist because he hangs out with black people. You know what I mean? It's kind of like get respect for you know what I mean? I never knew Elvis was really out here like that. So anyways, it was a good movie, and it was cool to see Memphis. Shout out to Verno. I'm sure he loved that one. It was well worth it. 2 thumbs up, and I only have 2 thumbs. So I
wonder if Verno does like Elvis, because I
has to, right?
When I was back in Indy for the race, I was talking to my grandma, and I don't know what I don't know why it's starting to happen to me. Maybe it's just because I sense my grandmother and my parents getting older or whatever. But like now I'm finding myself far more interested than I've ever been in their upbringing and just like stories they have to share. And I'm asking my grandma about like World War II, and I'm like, do you remember anything? And she's like, I was pretty young, but here's what I remember. And I'm sitting there just talking to her about all this. But her brother, my grandma's brother, married a woman from Liverpool, England, and she's telling me that because I remembered Aunt Kay was what we called her, and she had the funny accent in Northern Indiana, and I was like, that's kind of weird that you talk fun. We all talk funny, but you talk funnier than we talk fun.
Yeah.
And then she's like telling me that Aunt Kay grew up in Liverpool, and she was like the age of all the Beatles, and I'm like connecting this, and I'm like, holy. Like she was there as the Beatles were taking off. She was in Liverpool, and Kay has since passed away. But I was asking my grandma, I was like, so she must have just loved the Beatles. She's like, oh heavens, she hated the Beatles. she's like she hated that they represented Liverpool. She thought they were like, way too flamboyant. Like she's just going like all the the checklist of people that hated the Beatles back then of like they're too animated, too this and I was laughing my ass off. I was like, just the idea of me I'm never going to have that conversation with Kay now, obviously, but the idea of me talking to her like 10 years ago and like, hey, Kay, tell me what you know about the Beatles. And she's like, I'll tell you what I know. It cracks her knuckles.
Yeah, they
like,
suck.
They suck.
First and foremost.
They need to find God is what what I'll tell you. They're lost, and I don't know. That was funny. So anyway, do you think Elvis at his fattest is or Zion at his fattest? Who's fatter? What do you think?
I think Elvis still has better hips at his fattest. I'm not going to say who's fatter, but I think Elvis still has better hips. And honestly, I didn't know Elvis had pipes like this, my friend. I mean, they showed real
what?
Well, I mean, I knew he could dance. I knew he was like shocking. I didn't know the man had pipes. So like,
dude, Elvis is
at 41, like the real Elvis, because they cut between like the movie and the real. It's really cool. And Baz Luhrmann did a great job, but they showed the old Elvis at his last performance. My man is belting. You know what I mean? Like Adele.
Market Square Arena, right? In Indianapolis, I think. I think his last concert he did was in Indy in 1987, I want to say.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah. They tore it down. But I think that maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But that's what people in Indiana.
1977, right? That was his last
77. Yeah,
77,
not 87. Anyway, well, there you go. Jim and I, when we were at Ole Miss, we went to Tupelo and saw where Elvis was born and got the Elvis. It is fascinating because the guy's like he's a meme. He's like a punchline, really, for like.
Well, I had always heard that he like stole all of his music from black people, and it was like this actual malice to it. But when you hear his story, it's just like how he was raised, and then he made all of his music, and he paid a lot of homage back to B.B. King and all these other guys that kind of grew him up in the game. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Just learn your story. Learn your facts, people.
Go read a Wikipedia about Elvis. There you go. Big time racquetball player too, right? That's how Jim? Jim, is that how you won your Emmy? Was the racquetball Elvis 30 for 30 short?
Yep, that is it. King of the Court. Or
King of the Court. Yeah.
Yep. It's great.
Elvis,
check it out.
Elvis versus Zion racquetball match. Who you got? Is
Elvis.
A great theoretical.
Elvis by 100.
What do we want to talk about? What's going on in the basketball world? Can
we transition from music to music and basketball and talk?
Yeah, I think so. So Robert Dillingham going to Kentucky. This feels like news to me. So, I think there's two guys in college basketball media that truly don't go that crazy for recruiting announcements. It's probably us, mostly because we're lazy and we don't really know much about these guys and we don't actually know how good they are.
No, show me the tape. That's pretty much my stance.
Yeah. Release the tape if you the tape. Meanwhile, the tape is released. Like we could just go.
You could easily go find the tape.
No, I have no way of seeing how good.
I want the kid to send me the tape like old school. I open up in the mail and I go watch it.
Until these recruits postmark a VHS to my house. I refuse to comment on how good or bad they are. But Robert Dillingham going to Kentucky feels like news that is interesting to me because we've been getting on Cal a lot lately. Not so much for the encore demise of his program, although that is certainly interesting, losing to a 15 seed.
That's a conversation point.
Kentucky taking a step back and it does you
Louisville start rising,
Louisville rising. You could sort of build a narrative that 2015 Wisconsin just killed Cal forever and he's not recovered since the 2015 Wisconsin game. But we're far more interested when we talk about John Calipari in the cultural being that is John Calipari, who's had to sit back and watch Coach K, now Mr. K, take his whole approach to building a brand, taking the one and done model, applying it to his own university,
gentrify it. as some people said.
Cal has been lost at sea in trying to strengthen the John Calipari brand. And I felt like this was and draft night. We talked about it after we did the draft show that like John Calipari not at the draft. That's huge news. Yeah. That's huge news, dude. John Calipari's always at the draft.
Yes.
And he was not at this draft.
Yeah. Good for college basketball, though, that he is bought back into college basketball. That is one takeaway that I do have in the positive. But we'll keep going. Yes, we got to hear all the negatives.
But I was saying like these are all the negatives, and I'm starting to get a little worried that Cal has lost his fastball, and then he signs a guy who is committed to a different school, and currently plays at a high school that was started by a rapper who is also the chancellor / dean, who's also completely out of his mind. And by the way, there is no actual school. It doesn't actually exist.
Kanye teaches TikTok 101 at 12 o'clock on Wednesdays, and he's made it 1 out of every 4 weeks this month. That's pretty much their curriculum right now. Robert Dillingham is from North Carolina. Robert Dillingham was, like you said, we don't really crunch the tape here, but the tape had been sent to me on Dillingham from the North Carolina people. Shout out to the Ball is Life gang, Webb Wellman, that type of crowd. And they're like, this kid is AI. He's going to be nasty. Commits to NC State because he's an Adidas kid, Mark Titus.
Iguodala or Iverson? When you say AI?
Both. Shades of both.
Okay. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. With a little bit of koozie thrown in there, a dash of koozie. But that's what Dillingham was. And anyways, he's an Adidas kid, so he's going to NC State, an Adidas school. That's how these things work. Then he goes to Donda. Kanye is an Adidas guy. But the reason why Kentucky, the door was open, Titus, was because Kanye and Adidas are beefing. So Donda is not necessarily Adidas right now because I don't know if you saw this, but Adidas, they took like a mock of like a Yeezy shoe and they made like a similar type shoe. They sold it for retail, and Kanye called out the head of Adidas and was like, y'all are stealing from black artists, you're stealing from me, you know what I mean, this is wrong basically. And that opened the door for Robert Dillingham to go to Kentucky, which is a Nike school, because now Donda is basically a free agent. Kanye is also a free agent. Donda is a separate brand. So now Dillingham didn't have to go to an Adidas school, so he could go to any school, and now he's going to a Nike school, a.k.a. Kentucky.
Wow. This is amazing. This is why I love talking about this stuff with you, because I know there's dots to be connected. I just don't live in that world anymore, and I can't connect them. And you can. God bless you, Tate. So what? Like if Donda's then a free agency, Donda's a free agent, but
they're still Adidas technically, but they're kind of like Kyrie, right? Like they're still with the Nets, but we all know that they're fishing around and trying to find another partner.
Kyrie. So we could talk about Kyrie in a little bit.
Kyrie and Kanye have a lot of similarities, in my opinion.
Oh my God.
They are kindred spirits. They should hang out more. They should honestly have a school together. Kyrie should run the basketball program at Donda.
That's genius. Kyrie should just be named Donda coach, and he's never actually on the bench for the game. Yeah, he's never actually there. He's just the head coach of the Donda.
He's a spirit.
He's there in spirit only. So I've been fascinated by Donda Academy because of I don't understand why. Like it feels like the Live Tour situation where you're like, I kind of get how you're doing this. Like I get what would compel a 5-star recruit to get a DM from Kanye on Instagram that's like, yo, come to my school, and then they just pack up everything and move across the country. So by the way, like the isn't the fake address of the school in the valley?
It's in
Simi Valley. In Simi Valley, which, like, no disrespect to Simi Valley, they've produced a lot of things. Simi Valley is whatever, but it's not Hollywood, Tate.
It's also a place where land is probably the cheapest that's closest to LA. You know what I mean? So it's if you're gonna just like have land and it be like the school site, quote unquote, then that's probably a good place to say it is. It's very plausible.
But where are these kids that are at Donda? Like, what is their everyday life like? Like, because I think
they're
the
in
way
hotel rooms,
the way that Kanye sold it to him,
iPads and hotel rooms.
The way that Kanye sold it to him was like, come to LA and be a basketball star, and you end up living in Simi Valley, playing at Cal State Northridge.
It's Tierra Rajada Road is where Jim is pulled up, and if you look at the picture, there is literally just land and a broken fence. That is. So imagine being told you're going to go to LA and be a superstar, and that's your school. That's what you pull up to. Meanwhile, like Drake's hanging out at Sierra Canyon parking lot. You know what I mean? Because you ask why. You asked why at the start of this question. The reason why Kanye loves basketball, obviously, but also Drake is really into this basketball scene, and Drake and Kanye were beefing, and Drake is, apparently he's like, I've surpassed Kanye, and Kanye's like, ain't nobody ever gonna surpass me. So they were rivals, they were beefing, and that's how Donda kind of, I think, shot up in the first place.
Yeah, like I get like why these players will, because these guys are stupid. I mean, and I don't say that to pick on these guys. I'm not picking on these guys. I'm picking on 16-year-olds in general. We're all stupid. I would have done the exact same thing.
Of course, if Kanye DM'd both of us, you and I would come.
If who was the best rappers back when it was actually Kanye was actually good. It was Kanye. Yeah, dude, if Dr. Dre DM me in Brownsburg, Indiana, and I'm just like,
if Jay-Z DM'd me in high school and was like, do this, I'd be like, yes, sir.
Yes, done. Yes.
Done deal.
If I go to Dr. Dre's MySpace and I'm in his top 8, I'm dropping everything and I'm moving wherever he tells me. Yeah, so I get that part of it. I get how he's built this empire, quote unquote, of basketball. I don't understand the motivation behind it, other than just, as you said, like some sort of brand play, but like the business, the dollars and cents. The only thing that makes sense to me for that part, the dollars and like what is the return on investment on this, is that he does find a way to make his shoe brand, his fashion brand pop at the NBA level or at the college level, whatever it is. Like he finds, basically what I'm saying, Tate, is like, is there a world where Donda will sponsor a college team? Because I think that might be the play. If you're telling me that Donda is going to be, I'm all over the place. The Donda, is Donda the shoe brand? Yeezy?
Yeah.
What are the nicknames? I can't keep track.
Donda is his mother's name.
Okay,
is also there. Donda is his own brand. You know what I mean? There's lots of brands.
So what's the shoe brand? Yeezys?
Yeezy.
Okay, yeah. So Yeezy's the free agent. You're saying there's a beef between the Yeezys and Adidas.
Yeah.
Is there a world?
Yay versus Adidas.
Is there a world where like Cal State Northridge is wearing Yeezys to play in, and like that's his, is that Kanye's ultimate goal here, is to get like UC Riverside to wear UC Santa Barbara is coming out in Yeezys, and that's like
I think Kanye read Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, and then I think he literally thought to himself, like what you're saying, which is the best way to get kids to wear the shoes is to go grassroots, right? Like it went down every single level. It started where Nike and Adidas and Converse were going to the colleges, right? Carolina only wore Converse. That was a deal that they have with Dean Smith, right? That was the first layer. And then all the brands were like, why don't we go to the high schools, right? And then they were like, okay, well, now we're just going to start these AAU leagues and we're going to run those. Yeah. And the whole idea is you get your shoes on the kids and then bang, they grow up and they're still wearing the shoes. They've always had pictures of themselves with the shoes. Good for the shoes, good for the marketability. That's what Kanye's doing, at a high level, whatever, bird's eye view of the situation. But at the same time, I think he just wants to be playing in this game because it is like, it's a bad game. You know what I mean?
He's taking an approach like people approach podcasting, where it's like, I just want skin in the game. You're like, exactly. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is. But
I've never throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah. I've never done this before.
Get it, but it's provocative.
Yeah.
Throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what Kanye's doing. And at some level, you got to respect it. And at another level, you're like, I'm worried for these kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And that's kind of how it goes. But I'm excited. I think Dillingham going to Kentucky shows that you can still go to Donda and be okay. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just happy, Tate, for the longest time in college sports. I think these 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds were getting chewed up and spit out by the system. They were getting exploited. They were getting taken advantage of. And now that name, image, likeness is past, I'm just happy that those days are behind us. And these guys will never be led down a terrible path again in the name of someone else getting rich on their talents. I'm glad that's not ever going to happen.
I'm glad we're past that.
We're definitely past that. Talk to me about, I saw Jim sent us the tweet. I'm going to pull it up here. Ross Dellinger's tweeted that the Big 12 is targeting Brett Yormark, COO of Jay-Z's agency, Rock Nation, to be its next commissioner, sources tell SI. An unconventional hire, much like the Pac-12 hire last year, Yormark would be enter a changing landscape as an outsider to the industry, outsider of the industry. So Brett Yormark, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about him. I
agree.
am.
I will not either.
But all right. So moving on. Next. We should do a podcast where we just cover the news of the day, like the big news, like the real news, like the war in Ukraine and we're just like, I don't know much about it. Do you, Tate? You're like, I don't know.
I haven't heard much on my end. Let's just skip it or rip it.
Like Sal and Bill.
Let's just talk about it.
Like Sal and Bill picking games to gamble on and just calling either or games. Like I can see this one going either or.
There's really only two outcomes. The only way it's not an either or game, I guess, is if it's a tie, right?
Yeah, I can see this one going either way. I don't know much about this, so let's. But all our listeners are like screaming, like, "Isn't this your job to know about this?" And I'm like,
not this. No, I refuse to know about the executives.
I actually don't know if it's my job to know about it. I also don't know that. I don't know anything, as it turns out. But thanks for listening, nonetheless. But no, the big bullet point is obviously that he's coming from Rock Nation, and I don't care what he does at Rock Nation. He probably is not actually hands-on in the rap world, but maybe he is. I don't know. But the point is Jay-Z started this company. This man works for Jay-Z. He is now going to be a Big 12 commissioner. What did Jim say? Jim just dropped a note. Yormark spent 14 years as CEO of BSE Global, which manages and controls Barclays Center. Oh, okay. So he's really in bed with Jay-Z then. He's a big time Jay-Z guy. So this Jay-Z is entering the college basketball world, is what we're getting at, right? Yes. Is that fair to say that we're going to see Jay-Z somehow, some way, pulling some strings, steering recruits, showing up at Kentucky game or Kentucky Big Blue Madness in full get up and go through the layup line?
This is Jay-Z's playbook every 10 years or so, and he kind of pops in. Remember in 2000, maybe 2001, he does a video with Maya. He's wearing a Carolina jersey, right? About 10 years later, he's in the locker room at a Kentucky game, gets fined $50,000, and he raps on, Watch the Throne. What's 50 grand to a fucker like me? That's what Jay-Z, you know what I mean? So that was about 10 years ago that Jay-Z was in Kentucky's locker room. 10 years before that, he's wearing a Carolina jersey. And now we're about 10 years from that point in 2011, right? We're about 11 years to be exact. Jay-Z is back in college basketball. Jay-Z has his hands, on the pulse of the nation. He also, people forget, Rock Nation, you got Kevin Durant, you got Kyrie Irving, you got, remember when he got Robinson Cano all that money, right? Like $250 million. Like, Rock Nation is in the sports world. They always, they kind of have been for quite some time now. Jay-Z knows what he's doing. And Kanye's obviously trying to get Kentucky. Jay-Z's trying to get an entire conference.
Now, walk me through this. Is Kanye a Jay-Z guy? I thought he was forever.
He is a Jay-Z guy,
he still is?
He's
not?
Like a big brother, little brother relationship, My big brother was Big's brother. You know what I mean? That's what Kanye said. And they have some beef at times.
Who's him? Who's him between Jay-Z and Kanye?
Kanye thinks he's him, but Jay-Z is him.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's tough. There are alphas and there are omegas. I think Kanye's an alpha. I think Jay-Z's an omega.
All right. Well, I find it all fascinating because we love to talk about the basketball culture wars going on, and the NBA has, as we know, as the comment section of Outkick will point out to us, the NBA has strengthened its marriage with the rap community considerably so, I would say, in the last decade or so, Tate, to the point that like the idea of Luke Combs singing at halftime of the NBA All-Star game, preposterous. That's not happening.
I like Luke Combs. Let's get him out there.
Yeah, but that simply would never happen. That's just not going to happen.
That'd actually be amazing. They should do that.
The widest music.
Jimmy Butler would love that.
Yeah, the widest music the NBA will lean into is like Black Eyed Peas, and
You're right.
Ferguson.
Fergie got, and then Fergie
Stevie
got
Aoki. Stevie Aoki's there with his Black Eyed Peas throwing cake into the ocean, or cake into the ocean. Is he the cake in the ocean guy?
Silver, get Aoki in the Black Eyed Peas. For God's sakes.
Who's the cake in the ocean guy? Is that Steve Aoki? Is that where the cake comes from? Cake.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what that. I mean,
cake.
I think Imagine Dragons is.
What was that song like?
Imagine
Eating
Dragons
cake in the ocean.
They bring in now.
Oh, Cake by the Ocean is DNCE. What the hell is that, dude? That's what this podcast is now. It's just like me being old.
So he can play anything. You know, you have to remember this about DJs. Sometimes they just start playing other people's stuff. You know, it's not their music.
Oh, it's a Joe Jonas group. Is the Cake by the Ocean people? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Shout out to Joe Jonas.
Where were we? I was saying the rap guys really strengthening their hold on college basketball. I find it fascinating, Tate, because the country guys are still in on college basketball. As we know, Eric Church canceled a concert so he could go to the Carolina game, which people killed him for. Like we talked about it leading up to the game.
Genius.
Did we properly give that man credit for?
Nobody did. Nobody. I don't think wow,
yeah.
What a great move by Eric Church to go watch Coach K lose to Carolina in the Final Four.
Oh,
like, I mean, are you kidding me? Of course you cancel a concert if you had that guarantee on the other side, and it makes it even. My mom was saying this. Like she flew there to New Orleans. She was like, it makes it that much sweeter when people are like, oh man, I wish I had gone. You know, because you had to believe, and nobody thought Carolina was going to beat Duke. Like before the game, JJ Redick scoffed at the idea. Scoffed that Carolina could beat Coach K in his last game.
I guess my question is like, where are we going in terms of do you think all of these can coexist? Do you think like each school is going to have like its own musician its own famous musician it gets behind? I think Ohio State's is John Legend, which is like, you know,
strong.
That's pretty strong. I think that's a good one.
Carolina, we have Eric Church and J. Cole. We have both sides of the aisle covered.
That's what I mean. Like, do you think it is going to be? Do you think college basketball can win the culture war in a sense that we can cast a bigger umbrella, Tate, and we can get everybody under it. We can get the Stevie Aokis and the J. Coles and the Joe Jonas Cake by the Ocean groups and the Machine Gun Kelly's from Cleveland. Maybe he's an Ohio State guy.
I think we leave him to the NBA. Let's leave him to the NBA. Yeah, let's let the NBA have him. Like they really want him. Let's let them have him. We don't want him. You keep him, NBA.
What I'm saying is,
they got Machine Gun Kelly and E40.
I'm envisioning a world where musicians are announcing their college decisions. We have recruitment, like we go live to Machine Gun Kelly, and he's got 6 hats in front of him. And he's making his decision on which program he's going to be funneling all those recruits, all of his influence. He's going to use his platform to get people to go to the school. I don't know. I'm excited. It's a new era of college sports.
I'm all in, and we need rappers to be around the game to get the kids invested to make them have a good time. And people forget. I mean, Drake, 10 years ago, it's been a decade since Drake dressed up in full Kentucky uniform, went through warm-ups, and shot a complete air ball at Rupp Arena. People forget. It's been 10 years since he did that. I don't think I'll ever forget watching that. I was streaming that in college. I was a sophomore in college, and I was streaming that, and we were all like, "This is unbelievable. This guy's a full uniform on." He went to meetings. He's like, Cal's like running through offensive sets on a board. Drake's sitting there writing notes. I mean, this is incredible content. We need this in college basketball, right? And the fact that Drake is still tethered to UCLA because of Amari Bailey next year, the fact that Kanye has Dillingham going to Kentucky, the fact that Jay-Z's guy's about to have an entire conference,
the entire Big 12,
and those are the three. Those are the big three right there. That's big time. Rap.
Jay-Z's gonna have BYU's conference. Do you think about that? That's hilarious.
The cultures that we can bring together in college basketball, we're trying to build to a brighter tomorrow in the world of college basketball, and we need leaders like Kanye, we need leaders like Jay-Z, we need leaders like
we need at next year's Final Four
legends like them, maybe not leaders like
at next year's Final Four. Get rid of One Shiny Moment and play LL Cool J and Brad Paisley Accidentally Racist. That's for sure.
Followed by Tim McGraw and Nelly's Over and Over. Yeah. Over and over again. Honestly, I think you're right. I think you're onto something. That's the Final Four halftime show, and it's going to be opened up by Steve Aoki.
Steve Aoki throwing cake.
People are watching
into the crowd. The Drake deal, by the way, doing the full uniform, just because we have some younger listeners. We love our younger listeners, don't we, folks? We love our younger listeners. We love the people that have come along to the show that just graduated high school or something, or decided to go to a college that has a good college basketball program.
Born in 2009, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was 3 when that happened. You're like, what? You were what?
That's so stupid. That makes me anyway, the Drake deal feels like something that if you're younger, you would look back on and say, wow, the times were different. People were crazy back then. And I think it's important to just reiterate that it was crazy then. Like when it was happening, I vividly remember being very confused as to why Drake was going through the layup line. I was like, this is the dumb. But you know how like you see, I just saw a clip.
I could not believe that it was happening. You know what I mean? Like I literally, I was like, John Calipari has lost. You know, he has lost the plot here.
But you know how you see stuff from back in the day. Like I just saw on Twitter, someone retweeted in my timeline a clip of like Patti LaBelle singing, and then Kareem comes out and dances next to her. And then Pee Wee Herman comes out, and then Rowdy Piper comes out, and they're all dancing around Patti LaBelle. And I'm watching this like, what the hell was that? Why? And I guess that feeling, if you have that feeling watching the Drake clip, I just want you to know that we were all feeling that as we were watching it live. Like it was not like this is normal. And then now it's gotten weird as more time has gone by.
Drake thought that the world was going to see that and be like, man, this is sick. Like this is super cool that Drake's doing that. And yet everyone like could not look away.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for that reason. It was just like, what is happening here? And Calipari loved it, of course. I mean, it was what a time. And it also just shows how much influence college basketball has. You know what I mean? That like Drake, the biggest star upcoming star right then in rap, is like Kentucky Blue. You know, that's what I want to go be a part of.
Master P Son's going to Louisville, by the way. I said it at the top, but it didn't. We haven't even touched on that
final one. Yeah, that's our final one. I mean, No Limit Soldiers. Master P played in a preseason game, you know, with the Charlotte Hornets, and the Bojangles Coliseum turned into like a No Limit concert. There were people that all came in camouflage to watch this man play, and it scared George Shin, the owner, so much that he literally had to get Master P off the team. So that just talks about like the influence that rap can have in basketball. And Master P is like he's one of those people when you talk about like entrepreneurs, that guy actually is that. He just comes up with schemes. I saw him one time. He had an entire camera crew following him, Mark Titus, and he also had a presidential candidate with him that looked kind of like Barack Obama. And he was like, this guy's going to be running in 2020. I can't remember his name, but he had a card and he'd be like, do the speech. And the guy had like a stump speech, like to like tell you what he was going to do when he became president. That's what Master P does. This guy is a walking billboard, and he is always got something to mark. He got new shoes, new shirt, whatever. So the fact that his son Hercy, Hercy Miller is going to Louisville with
his other son was Percy, right? He's Percy.
Yeah, he's
Master P's Percy, but then
he is Percy. Yeah,
his one son, who's little Romeo?
Yeah,
that's Romeo. He was at USC?
Mm-hmm. He played basketball at USC for a couple of years. Yeah,
and his name was actually Romeo.
Yes.
Okay. Was there a Percy Jr.?
I believe so. I think there is a Percy. I think there's a Percy Jr. And I think actually Hercy is somehow like the third, right? Even though I'm like, I don't know. But anyways, Master P is one of them ones. Like you know, there's a lot of people out there, but he is one of them ones. And I think Louisville, as low-key as it may seem, they are kind of winning, in my opinion, this war between Kentucky right now to be cool. I think Kenny Payne is winning the war. Robert Dillingham was a big get, but he's got some question marks, especially after being at Donda. And I think Master P is a much better partner to be in business with.
I agree. My read on it, my 35-year-old washed up white dude's read on this is that Kentucky give Robert Dillingham is a move for Twitter. It's a move for the podcast sphere. It's a move like you and I to talk about. I think Louisville is winning the war in the streets, Tate. I think the streets are seeing what Louisville's doing with Kenny Payne, and they're saying that resonates more. But I just like that. I like that Kentucky's winning. So like I need Kentucky
I need them to be winning. Yeah,
I need them to be winning something because it felt like the grass was slipping from Cal.
And it wasn't fun. So Dillingham is like a fun guy to bring in. Apparently, John Wall is gonna be a guy that's gonna be helping mentor him. Obviously, also from North Carolina, also went to Kentucky. So it'll be fascinating. And I need Cal to bring back Boogie. I need Cal to like dive back into that world of Kentucky guys. You know what I mean? Bring him back in the fold. It's been 10 years. Celebrate Anthony Davis. Make him like basketball again, right? Like try to do that, Cal. Try to go back into who your brand was. You know what I mean? And that maybe will inform your future. Address your past, inform your future.
That's a great point. That's a great point. John Wall's going to the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Is that the news? Yeah.
That's the news. I kind of like the Clippers. I mean, they're kind of they're an interesting team.
Does John Wall suck now? He didn't even play this year, right?
He's just been caking. He's been making money. I mean, just basically sitting on the bench, and then now he got a buyout for $40 million.
I want to
get $40 million.
I hope there's a mode on the new 2K game where you can do career mode and you could just like not play. You could just like you just like it's you're faced with a decision, and it's like a choose your own adventure, and you pick a decision to sit out, but it might doing so you might risk teams thinking you're a quitter or thinking they're not going to get value back, but then it also might work. And that's all you do is you just get faced with these questions. And it's like, you're playing the second night of a back-to-back. Last night you played in New York. Tonight you're playing in DC. Do you want to sit this game out? And they're like, yes, I do want to sit this game out. And then and that's all the game is. You just say yes, and then you see what happens next. And then it's like, ooh, that one's going to cost you. There is
that one's going to cost you.
A senator took his son to this game, and he was really pissed off you weren't playing. And now they're passing legislation to, And you're like, damn it! Oh, I suck at this game. And then you're turning off you're hitting reset so it doesn't save. And let me pick that up again. That's the new career mode on 2K. I'm excited for it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean the ability to opt out is honestly incredible. And the funniest part about all of it is that like the Brooklyn Nets have 3 players that all would quote unquote opt out. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Durant in the 2019 season. He gets to the finals, gets hurt. And then he goes in the offseason. He's like, I'm opting out of this situation. You know what I mean? He opted out. Kyrie's opted out of like every situation he's ever been in his career. He went to Duke for 11 games, like opt out. I'll be the number 1 pick. I've already done my work here. And, and Ben Simmons, did you see this picture of Ben Simmons he was deep sea fishing for big tuna. And he's got,
big tuna like the brand or like big tuna like the industry? Like the deep state.
Industry. He's going to find some big tuna. He's
just the fish. He's
fish. Yeah.
Okay. He's getting big. The way you said it, he was fishing for big tuna. I was like, there's a lobbyist that was paying him to.
That same senator that didn't play for made him go fish. But anyways, he's reeling in big fish, and like everyone's like, wouldn't this be horrible for your back? You know what I mean? So, anyways, and they're right. That's another opt-out thing, right? So another opter-outer. You're right. I mean, we joked about it on our show, but now it's almost like that's part of your player moves. You know what I mean? That's the way you're like, I'm not going to do this. Opt out. But shout out to Kyrie. He just opted in, I guess.
The Titus turn. I am happy about that. That it does feel like the Titus turn where the general sentiment is like, this is stupid. Like this is no,
you can't get away with it now. Like Ben Simmons fishing, right? The fact that someone's getting that picture and immediately like this guy like is playing us, you know what I mean? That's good. That means that we all got our thinking caps on now, and we're using some critical thinking. We're like, wait a second.
Well, because for a while, like the NBA players were the player empowerment era getting ushered in. If you were someone who was like, now hang on a second, this are we sure this is good for the league? You were met with there was a backlash to your I don't mean to be like a guy that's complaining about cancel culture because it's not that serious, but like it did feel like the general consensus was like good for the players. They should get everything they deserve. It like this,
you can get out.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you can get out. This is like, why shouldn't the players be able to move wherever they want to move or opt out? Like, wouldn't you working in your cubicle love to take some days off if you could and just not show up for work? Like, wouldn't that be sick if you had that power? Of course you would. So why can't these players do this? And that was sort of the sentiment. And I think most people, as we near the end of this collective bargaining agreement, and they realize that the writing is on a wall, that the NBA is going to be locked out for a very long time because of all the power that the players got, and the owners are like, this is all horseshit, and this is the genie's out of the bottle now. I think if you see the writing on the wall, you're like, yeah, maybe Kyrie isn't the best for maybe this isn't great for the league to have guys like Kyrie being the face of what this league is, and the fact that like Kyrie and Ben Simmons were the two most talked about guys. And then the finals. It was a great finals. It was a really good finals. Certainly two franchises that were interesting.
Yeah,
it should have been a monster rating. It was not, Tate. And I think like when you look back on this season, most people will remember that the Warriors won, but then they'll talk about like Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving and James Harden, and,
Kevin Durant.
And this is a problem that the league has. And I guess like it does feel like people are finally like the general sentiment. I'll put it this way. I am now more comfortable saying Kyrie sucks and not fearing that like I'm going to have to like now get into a discussion about like labor rights and like that, like that as it turns out, a guy getting paid $40 million to not play basketball is not really that oppressed, as it turns out. I don't know. that was my point of view the whole time. And as it turns out, Kyrie Irving opting in and then tweeting or saying like, I'm not a normal person. I dare to be different. I dare to you're like, get this guy out of my face, Like, I don't think we have to pretend. I think the charade is over is what I'm saying. I don't think we have to pretend like this guy is in any way, shape, or form a smart person, or we need to cheer for him in any way, or that like him behaving this way, we are now taking down like the billionaire owners. There is a situation where everybody sucks. And I think like the current tug of war going on between the owners and players in the NBA is that situation. You all suck. Get out of my face. Yeah, Giannis, you're good. I like you.
Steph, I like you.
You can stay. Yes, Steph, you can stay. That should be our draft. We should do a draft. That's off-season content. Like we go through a draft of like we're starting the live tour. And we're drafting, but it's like the good live tour where it's like we're saving professional basketball.
We're starting the ABA again. We're like these are the players that we've identified that actually like basketball and actually want to play and will be good stewards of the game. Let's take them over here.
Yes.
Giannis, Steph, Kawhi, LeBron. I'm taking LeBron.
I take LeBron.
Yeah, but I'm not taking, like you said. I mean, Kyrie, and he has gotten the longest leash of anyone I've ever seen, and it's
I'd take Benedict Mathurin too. I'd take him as well in this draft.
Can you believe that Benedict Mathurin? I mean, we joked about who was him. That man is him. That is
him, dude.
Undeniably, honestly, if I was Paolo Banchero, I would be a little worried that Benedict Mathurin was like, I'm not even worried about anyone in my draft class. I'm worried about LeBron James.
Here are just the facts, Tate, because I've had some people reaching out to me like, man, you did a great job coping with losing Jaden Ivey and having to settle for Mathurin.
That's
and
nice.
it sure sounded you tried to make it sound like you weren't sad at all, but like, let's be honest, Titus, you're actually very upset that Jaden Ivey didn't fall to the Pacers. Here's what I know, Tate. On draft night, one guy was bawling his eyes out, and the other guy was challenging LeBron James and said, "You're not that good, and until I play you one-on-one." I don't. So you tell me, like, who's more him? Who the mama's boy that's crying? Okay, that's too far. I'm sorry.
Well, Benedict Mathurin did not cry. In fact, I don't think he's ever cried.
He's never cried.
Yeah, no. That's what I've heard. Benedict Mathurin is definitely one of them ones and will be him. I think we're about 3 years away from being 3 years away from Benedict Mathurin being
I want Mathurin to lead the charge of I think Dylan Brooks can get on this train too. Dylan Brooks is kind of a douche, not even kind of, he's a douche and he sucks and whatever, but at least he's he carries himself in a way that is not Canadian, I would say. I mean, there's a little Canadian to him, but like I don't know. Maybe Dylan Brooks.
The Canadian to him is like the little bit that you don't really get, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't quite get that, but everything else I kind of know where he's coming from, and like you said, at least I know what he is and what he seems to be about. It's forward facing.
You know how Draymond is doing the new media deal where Draymond Green is pretending like he invented the idea of players talking about sports, I guess. I don't know what the new media. Mathurin should do. He should start a new Canadian.
When we all know Jalen Rose started it, so let's give Jalen Rose his flowers.
Yeah, Jalen Rose
on the Best Damn Sports Show.
I'm excited for the Instagram post where Jalen Rose does like a collage of every former player that's working in media currently, and it's just like headshots of all these players, and it's like very tiny. I'm picturing like a Brady Bunch type. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of squares, but in the one Instagram picture. And Jalen's like, when I started down this road, I never would have dreamed that all these guys would be following in my footsteps.
yeah. Hashtag family. Hashtag.
And he's got like Billy Packer's picture on there. He's like,
shout out to Billy Packer, man. What a legend. Billy Packer was one of the few people that could actually infuriate me during a game. You know what I mean? That would drive me insane.
What I was saying though is Matherin needs to start a campaign that is new Canadians. Like we're not like the old Canadians. We're the new Canadians. We're all him, and we're coming for you. Like we
Andrew Wiggins is a part of this group. They act like Andrew Wiggins was like part of their gang the entire time. You know what I mean? They're like Wiggins got that dog in him. I think they all got the dog in him, and that was the one thing that was missing from all the Canadians. Everyone's like, but do they have the dog in them?
Yeah. We're not Steve Nash like tucking our hair behind our ears and licking our fingers and throwing pocket bounce passes. That's not us. We talk and we dunk on you like that, and we're him. That's who we are.
I feel bad for Steve Nash. Can I just say that on the record, just with all the Kyrie stuff? The fact that Kyrie – do you remember talking about how insufferable he can be? He tweeted that he was going to have a meeting with him, KD, Joe Tsai, the owner, and Sean Marks. Like, he was like, the four of us are going to have a meeting and figure out our future together. And it's like, dude, you didn't even need a coach. And then you tweet like you're one of the four owners. Like, it's unbelievable. That's why we're probably gonna have a lockout.
I do feel bad for Steve Nash, but I also, Steve Nash. He
knew what he signed up for.
This is one of the most blatant ring chasing moves in NBA history, and it's not getting talked about like some of the other ring chasing moves because it's a coaching move. You know, it was not a player switching teams or whatever. But Steve Nash, I saw 3 months before he took the Brooklyn Nets job. I'm at a bar in Hermosa. I've told this story before. It's not even really a story. It was just like I saw Steve Nash at Hermosa Beach living his life, Tate. He was pushing his child in a stroller. He's like having a nice ice cream. You could see it in his eyes, Tate, that this man is just like absolutely living life, like living like a surfer's life. Like, you know, he's just living in Southern California.
Calling soccer for Bleacher Report.
Soaking it in. Talking like people are coming up to him, talking to him, and he's not like it doesn't look like he's getting mobbed. It looks like he's one of the people just interacting with people, you know, just like
it happens to be Steve Nash.
He's giving the Shaka hand sign to people, you know, and he's like, You guys playing some beach later? You running 4-on-4? All right, I'll get in on that. And you're like, dude, this guy has the sickest life ever. Like this is amazing. And then 3 months later, I see that he's signing on to be the coach of the Nets. And then it's obvious that it's a ring chasing move because why would you throw away the life you had to go deal with this 3-ring circus? And the answer is because he wants the 4th ring added to that 3-ring circus, which is the championship ring. I do feel bad for him because I do think he thought like he could just show up and like, you know, clap a little bit and draw up a pick and roll on a whiteboard. And
he thought he was going to be more of a motivator than like a X's and O's guy. But at the end of the day, in the playoffs, you have to make decisions as a coach, and you have to know how to exploit matchups, and you have to know how to like make personnel decisions. There's a lot of things that you just have to inherently know, and obviously you learn a lot on the job. But I feel for the guy because this is probably going to be his one opportunity, and one of his players never even tried, and he's the reason why they were all there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm Kevin Durant, I'm a little sick, too. Like, I know everyone's acting like, you know, they're like, they'll be friends forever. You don't get it. I'm sure they will be. But from a competitive aspect, like, if you and I were going to play on a team, and then you kind of just mailed it out on me, and then I'm there and I didn't really want to be there, and then you're kind of like, yeah, dude, the situation sucks. I'm like, I told you it was gonna suck. You brought me here. You know what I mean? Like that would be shitty. I don't know.
Who's the Ben Simmons, Durant, and Kyrie of me, you, and Jim? This is the new. This should be the new.
Jim is Ben Simmons. Jim is Ben Simmons. I don't want to be. Can I pass?
I don't want to be. That was a bad exercise. I don't like this.
No, but Jim's still Ben Simmons. He probably likes Ben Simmons.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, why doesn't Ben Simmons have an accent? That's the other thing I don't like.
That's very fraudulent.
Is he really Australian? I don't know. But the Nets are just, like you said, it's a 3-ring circus, and there will be no rings at the end probably. But
speaking of, I mentioned Draymond earlier with the new media thing. I'm fascinated by this because I need you to explain this to me. What is the new media, old media situation going on? I'm just like, can you help me understand because like again, we are the number one culture war podcast.
Yeah. If you have a culture war, you send it to us. We'll analyze it. We will rip all the culture war.
And I want to understand this one though, because this one's like a new wrinkle to the basketball culture wars, and it's like it definitely is bubbling over right now, and especially as we've shifted into off-season mode, and Draymond has more free time on his hands, and just is coming off of a championship where he's just gonna now parade around with the trophy and flip everybody off. I feel like the new media, old media beef is bubbling over. But I don't really understand what it is, and I need help understanding because where do we fall, I guess? Where do we fall in the culture war of new media versus old media?
We are new media because we have a podcast, which I think is Draymond. I think that's one of the things that you have to have in his mind is a podcast, right? You can't be on linear television. He said the old media was Skip Bayless, which is hilarious because Skip Bayless is like a new media that started in like the late 2000s, right? Because it was take culture that we have to deal with now. So I think he's like in a micro generational battle. You know what I mean? That's where Draymond is. He's talking about an old and new media, but it's really like the old media he speaks of is really like 10 years old, and he's like in a medium that's like 5 years old, you know? So it's like you're arguing with the class that is also a new class, but then there's like actual old media that it like hates both of this, you know? They're like, where has my country gone? Where has the estate that I believed in, the press, what has it turned into? This just absolutely abomination of everything I ever worked for. That's how journalists, old media, probably look at this. Like a Frank DeFord, Frank DeFord is both appreciative that Draymond has his own platform, probably, but also like, what is this? Like what is new media? What is old media? It's a micro. It's a.
Draymond's a 17-year-old on a skateboard going down the sidewalk, and then he pushes like a 23-year-old out of the way, and is like, "Out of the way, Grandpa!"
Yeah, out of the way, old man.
And then you're the 23-year-old, and you're like, "What just happened?"
Well, the funniest thing is the 23-year-old is Skip Bayless with that. He's Steve Buscemi with the skateboard, and he's like, "How you doing, kid?" Like he's masquerading as a 23-year-old. Like the fact that Skip Bayless is acting like he's this upset about things at his age is one, you have to give respect to the acting, but also you're like, Draymond, come on. Like,
well, I felt like somewhere in the middle because from my perspective, it feels like Draymond is saying that new media is guys who play, who are like, you're taking the power back. Instead of letting other people talk about you, you're going to talk about you. And I'm going to have my own platform to talk about you. And, not to be Jalen Rose here, Tate, but like I started a blog in 2008 when I was, I did not win an NBA championship, Tate. I did score 9 career points. They were very loud 9. And I think not enough people talk about that, how loud of a 9 those were. But as I'm on a Big Ten champion team, Tate, I'm blogging. And that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. So where does that fall? You know what I mean? Like, where do I fall?
You're new media.
Does that make me new media? Because like I was a player talking, but then like I was also like, dude, that part of my life was so long ago. In my old media, I don't know. But I guess like that's part of the culture war. I guess I should be smart enough to know that is like part of culture wars is you never actually define what's happening, like what sides are. You just kind of yell.
Yeah.
Yell about cancel culture.
People yelling about, then it always comes back to that.
And then like both sides are yelling about cancel culture, and you're like, what side? What even are the sides anymore? Side? Yeah. I'm really confused. I think that's it. I think that's how it works. But I've been fascinated by that because Draymond, rightfully so, man. Like, because I shit on Draymond after game 1, especially, and was like, not stop the podcast, but like, please stop sucking at basketball if you're going to continue to do the podcast. So he's rightfully taking his victory laps as he should. But for me to have after game 1, my instinct was to shit on Draymond for doing the podcast. That makes me feel like I was old media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the way Draymond describes new media, I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of
exactly
what I did and do. I don't know. So,
yeah, I mean, he was sitting on a stage next to Tommy Alter and JJ Redick. JJ's podcast I used to edit and have to listen to, and Tommy is obviously we both know. So, I mean, I'm sitting there being like, well, if they're new media, then I'm new media. I had to listen to that before. So, I think we're new media.
But if they're new media, do we want to be new media?
No, exactly. But I'm saying, I think like if I had to choose a side, if you had to choose your weapon, like I'm old media. Like I am journalist. I'm a J.
Okay, let's put it this way: who is the him of the media world? Is it the new media or the old media?
Stephen A. Smith is him because Stephen A. Smith is old media, but he's like friendly with new media. You know what I mean? Like Draymond said, he loves Stephen A. Smith, and I think Stephen A. is him. Which is crazy because you and we watch Quite Frankly with Stephen A. Smith.
I remember Quite Frankly.
And when you think of Stephen A. or I think of Stephen A., I think of like the Allen Iverson Philadelphia guy, you know? Like that's what Stephen A. is to me. And I love that Stephen A. has become this national, cowboy hater and everything he is, but I think he might be him.
Who was the guy? Is it Pat Croce? Is that his name? That was the Sixers. Was he the who was he? Pat Croce is American. He's the guy that served as the president of the 76ers from 96 to 2001. And then I think he started like Slamball, didn't he? Didn't he have a thing in Slamball?
I love Slamball.
I think that guy had something to do with Slamball. Anyway, I remember his face being on television with Stephen A. all the time, Pat Croce, when he was the president of the Sixers.
Yeah.
Because Stephen A. was just basically the Philly guy, and he would talk about AI and talk to Pat Croce about AI. And that was like every Stephen A. show. And like sometimes I'd turn them off because I'd be like, I kind of don't care about AI anymore. And then other times I'd be like, it's been a little bit since I've heard some AI stories. Let's see what Stephen A. has to say.
I kind of just remember like 2004 because of the Olympics. I remember like because Iverson was the captain and Duncan was the other captain, and Stephen A. was like,
that's right.
Yeah, he's like Stephon Marbury's trying to take away from AI's game.
Pat Croce was the dude, because I remember looking this up one time. It's all coming back to me. Pat Croce was the commissioner of Slamball, dude.
That's sick.
That's absolutely sick. In 2002, Slamball made his television debut on on TNN, later Spike TV. Soon after, former 76ers owner Pat Croce, I didn't know he's the owner. All right, he's the owner. Had signed on as partner. It says he was the commissioner, dude. Yeah, Commissioner Pat Croce and coaches Kenny Anderson, John Starks. I miss Slamball so much, dude. That is when I get nostalgic about basketball, I really do get nostalgic about summers in high school when you come home and you turn on the TV and you knew that there was going to be just 15 hours of basketball content and none of it was going to be actual basketball. It was going to be Slamball and the And One mixtape tour and like some sort of like documentary about like
R.I.P. Cadillac or Escalade. Man, there were so many characters on the And One mixtape tour. I have an And One basketball I just found at home. I was like, I need to just go dribble this around outside. This is hilarious.
I freaking love
What a great brand, by the way. And One should come back and be a school. Like Marquette should be And One. Like with some school like that, Georgetown should be And One.
I miss that. We need the era when I guess this is still happening with the Drew League where guys would show up and play street ball games. And Kobe did that at the Drew League, right? Like Drew the cops came to didn't the cops come and like try to get Kobe to stop playing because they're like, this is a situation brewing. A lot of people are coming here to see you. And he's like, not yet. I want to hit the game winner.
Very Kobe story.
That's a him situation.
Kobe's.
Man, I miss that so much though, dude. I miss Slamball. I miss it. I miss it. And now the basketball alternatives are the goddamn overtime elite league and G League Unite and garbage like that, dude. We need more Slamball and one mixtapes and the ABA, dude. That's what we should do. We should start our own. Should we start our own basketball league? I think we should. I
don't think we can because there's already so many other basketball leagues. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. We got to wait for them to all die out and then we come in, swoop in. And I think the NBA has to die out. You know what I mean? That's the next wave. That's the next one that goes down. And then the ABA comes back.
I think Slamball was the start of cancel culture. I really do. I think when Slamball
Yeah.
I think when Slamball when Slamball went away and everyone was like, why are we doing this? And someone was like, well, I think a guy got his foot trapped in a trampoline and his leg snapped in half and he'll never be able to walk straight again. And then I remember my uncle heard that story and just said, and then my uncle started using the term cancel culture, and then I think that's where it started.
What is this? Some kind of cancel culture?
What are we doing?
Oh man!
In 2015, Slamball resurfaced in China after what appeared to be an extended courtship with the Chinese government. Oh no, disavow. I'm out on Slamball.
You're out. That was honestly. Now you're in a culture war.
Now I'm in the kids. I would like to for the second time in my life cancel Slamball.
Daryl Morey is about to tweet about you, and he's like, I can't believe this Titus guy talking about Slamball.
Oh my God. Slamball creator Mason Gordon did exhaustive legwork advancing the process. In 2015, all of Gordon's hard work would pay off as Slamball started capturing the attention of the Chinese. Imagine that sentence. Dude. Imagine like
it does make sense why the Chinese would like that game. You know what I mean? So
imagine having that sentence on your Wikipedia though. That in 2015, all of Gordon's hard work would pay off as Slamball started capturing the attention of the Chinese public. Imagine that's on the Titus and Tate Wikipedia page. All of their hard work started paying off as they started to capture the attention of the Chinese public.
yeah. This is not good.
The Chinese streamers. According to a report by Vice Sports, Mason Gordon, the creator, was quoted as saying, "We never left. We just needed to take the best path for us." There are even talks of Slamball college teams coming in the coming years. Oh my God. This is all right.
Dude, some of the Slamball photos, like the live action photos, they're so unbelievable. It's like out of Space Jam. You know what I mean? Guys are like 25 feet in the air, like with the ball fully cocked back. You know what I mean? Like, it's unbelievable. We need college teams.
The Rumble, the Slashers, the Mob, the Hombres, the Maulers, and the Bouncers. Those are the teams. The Rumble were the best team. The Rumble won it every year. No, they were the best team every year. The Riders, coached by Xavier McDaniel, won it one year.
Wow. Shout out to the Riders.
And the Slasher. Okay, there you go. That's the Slamball report.
Honestly, I'm glad that we got into Slamball. I didn't know what we were going to get into today. I just did not want to talk about the NBA. I was like, please keep me away from the NBA. And if it had to take Slamball, I'm happy that it did because now I can watch some Slamball highlights.
I just get like it's that time of year where it starts as the weather turns and we get into the dog days of the summer and you whatever. I get nostalgic so badly for Slamball and N1 mixtape, dude. It was so fun growing up on that stuff. It really was, and everything was so big. That was the era of like everything got just like by the time I got to college, like the shorts we were wearing at Ohio State were down to our ankles and just baggy. Like the shorts got bigger. Everyone was driving an Escalade. Exhibit's pimping rides and like adding cars to cars. And he's like, you open up this back hatch, like another car comes out from this car. It's a Russian.
You didn't even know you needed fish tanks in a car until you're like, I guess I did need 3 fish tanks.
You're watching Cribs and like it's just palatial estates that like all these guys have because
except for the Yin Yang twins who like had just rented the house that they showed on Cribs. They literally it was like
but you got like Nelly Furtado had one good song and then like she's doing a Cribs episode and she's got like this 49,000 square foot mansion because this is the days before 2008 when they were just handing out loans like candy to people and like everyone's house is just massive. Oh, good times, fun times. Should we talk about the Avs real quick and then we can do shout outs or maybe I can make that my first shout out to the Colorado Avalanche winning the Stanley Cup. I will not be. I'm heading to Colorado on Thursday. We're gonna road trip to Colorado, and then I'm gonna stay there for like 2 weeks, I think. But I was hopeful, Tate, that I would be there for the parade. I'm not gonna be there for the parade, but shout out to the Avs.
When is the parade, by the way?
I think it's Thursday. I think like when I'm gonna be on the road as they're parading through Denver. But they I don't know if you saw this. They dented the cup. They set a record. The Colorado Avalanche set a record for the fastest denting of the Stanley Cup after being handed the cup. They immediately dented it. And I was cracking up because it just highlights this is not an original thought, but it's a thought I want to share and talk about with you a little bit because it cracks me up that these guys will not touch the cup. They cry thinking about the Stanley Cup. You say the word Stanley Cup to a hockey player, they start crying. And the blood rushes to their groin and they're just like they just get like they become an emotional mess
Yeah.
And then they win the Stanley Cup and they do the most degrading shit you could possibly imagine to this thing. They have no, they do not care for it in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they do the exact opposite.
Everything out of it. Yeah. They're swimming with it. Yeah.
Yes.
They're tackling it.
They're throwing it off of balconies. They're doing everything there is to do with it. So I find that that speaks to me. That really does. That is that, and I think basketball needs that. I think college basketball should have that. I think that is a tradition that every sport should have, is that when a team wins a championship, you get a day with the trophy and you get to do whatever you want to it. I also love, you only have one trophy and everyone passes it around. You don't get to keep it forever.
Too. I like that too. I also like that they give it to the captain. Just
That's
like
a great call. Yeah.
I like that so much more than what we do in basketball, where we like bring out Joe Lacob. Like Joe Lacob's the first person we need to talk to after Steph Curry and the Warriors won. Are you kidding me? But that's how the NBA works. That's the one thing about the players. They should try to put that and put the collective bargaining. They're like, we will play, but you have to give us the trophy first. And it's like, okay, fair deal. I like that part.
The owners are like, you all have to take $26 million less a year. And they're like, okay, never mind. Or,
never mind. You can have the trophy.
You can have the trophy. Never mind. We take it all back. We take it all back. I was also wondering, like, thinking about, there's only one Stanley Cup and you only get like one day with it, and then they pass it around and everything. Has anyone tried to steal the Stanley Cup? Has anyone thought of that? Has anyone because I am of that mind. I've talked before about my desire to want to rob a bank just to see if I can do it. I don't actually want to take the money. Like I don't mean to
give it back. It's like when it's like
I'm Robin Hood.
You're throwing the fish back in. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, oh, I thought you meant like give it back to the people. Like I'm Drake, like I'm Drake in the God's Plan video. No. Yeah. But you're saying literally give it back to the bank? Yeah,
like you're like, sorry guys, just wanted to see if I could do it. Here you go.
You guys, can you imagine the most like
well, you just do it for sport. You know what I mean? Like, I rob banks for sport, not for cash.
I go and I take a huge bag of cash to the bank and I just drop it on the counter in front of the teller. And I was like, I'd like to deposit this. And they're like, sir, where did you get this? Or like, how are you depositing this money? Or no, I don't say I like to deposit. I just be like, here. And they go, where would you like to deposit this? And I'd say, I don't know. You tell me. This is your money. And then I just walk away and watch their heads explode. And they're like, whoa,
dude, you come in.
How did he do this?
You come in, you give them your favorite pin as collateral. And they're like, why did you give us this pin? Yes. And then you go steal all the money. And then you come back, dump the money, and then you take your pin. You know
I said, can I have my pin back?
Can I have my pin back, please?
Pin, please. And I stick my hand out. Yes. And then I bow. And then everyone in the bank starts like, clapping.
Oh my God. DB Cooper.
And then the hottest chick in the bank faints, and she puts the back of her hand.
Margot Robbie is working at the bank. She faints.
She puts the back of her hand on her forehead and faints and falls into my arms. And then I throw her into my convertible and we drive away. And,
into the movie.
And roll credits. But no, when I hear about the Stanley Cup and there's only one of them and that they have to have a chaperone go with it now, because I read somewhere that like Marc Messier used to take it to strip clubs and someone lost it, and I've read a handful of stories about it.
That's anyway. When you ask, I feel like people there's more of a proclivity and possibility that you lose it than you steal it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like people lose things all the time, and like having a big cup, like you know what I mean, and you're carrying it everywhere, and you're getting inebriated at the strip club. I could see that getting lost there.
Somebody lost in a lake though. I read. And they had to like fish it out of the lake. But anyway, you're right. More people are going to lose it than steal it, but I would steal it. And I would say, has anybody actually checked? Have we made sure that no one made a replica and then did a switcheroo? And when it was your time to hand back, yes, national treasure. Yes. How much do you think the Stanley Cup is worth? I guess too, because if you stole it, you know, like I feel that way about like art pieces. Is like guys like art thieves will steal it, but then it's like how do you make money off of that? Because everyone knows it's stolen. If you stole the Mona Lisa, everyone knows it's stolen.
Yeah,
so who are you selling it to?
On the dark web, like Mona Lisa for $32 million.
Yeah,
like, I think I found the guy who has it.
Is that why NFTs started? Is because like art thieves started realizing they can't sell their shit. They're like, no I think wants this. Yeah. Everyone knows this is hot.
Yeah, I think art thieves were like, you know what we need to do? We need to double dip. It's kind of like why podcasters are on YouTube. They're like, we need more revenue streams. Let's do the same thing but somewhere else.
Jesus. Anyway, that's my one big thought about the Stanley Cup is I want to make sure that that feels like a late 90s mid to late 90s comedy movie. Sports comedy is like some guys try to steal the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And
let's write that. Gene and John try to steal the Stanley Cup.
Starring Daniel Stern of Home Alone and Rookie of the Year and Celtic Pride fame.
I watch. You know what they also need? You know what they need to remake? Also, I was just thinking the other day. I'm watching baseball highlights. Angels in the outfield, but this time Shohei Ohtani is in the movie, and he's like the hope. He is basically an angel himself, right? We don't know that until the end of the movie that he's. Oh
my God, he's an actual angel.
He's actually an angel. Yeah, Angels in the outfield, but with Shohei Ohtani.
And he doesn't bring wins to the team. He just brings,
no, they don't win anything.
They don't win anything.
They don't win anything. But he has like 8 strikeouts. He has 10 RBIs every other game.
Yeah, like because it's a deal. Yeah, we're in the movie.
You don't have to win. That's the lesson in Disney that they tell you. You don't. It doesn't matter who wins. It's just about the vibes. And the vibes are high.
You want to hear bad news? Some sad news. I started watching the Formula One Netflix deal because I talked so much shit on it. I was like,
sad news.
I know I should watch this if I'm gonna shit on it. It's actually well produced. It's a good show. Like the way they shoot it and edit it and everything. It is really good, but I still stand by. I just finished the first season and I still stand by, like, if you watch that and then try to pretend like you're a racing expert, you're a bozo. But whatever, that's neither here or there. But what was the reason I bring it up is because it cracks me up how they're framing stuff in the show about like the fight for 4th place and the fight for like 6th, like it's very apparently that's the thing in Formula One is like they're scratching and clawing for 6th. They're doing speeches before the races like, if we can get 6th here, that would be awesome. And that reminds me of your Shohei Ohtani movie ideas. Like that's the Angels are fighting to not finish last place in the division, and they're doing the angel wings, and they're like, if we can just get a miracle, we can maybe play in the wild card play-in game and lose by 7 runs. Maybe Shohei's like, I'm that miracle.
Yeah, I am that man. Mike Trout is not in the movie though. That's like one of the things that Shohei says, that Mike Trout cannot be in the movie. So there is a number 27. He's played by what's the Carhartt guy? I forgot his name. The wrestling Carhartt guy. Oh my God, what is his name?
Jim, who's the Carhartt guy?
The white wrestler, the Carhartt white wrestler that's everywhere. He's an actor now, and he does Peacemaker.
Oh, John Cena?
Yeah, I blanked on his name. John Cena is playing Mike Trout, but his name is not Mike Trout. His name is John Cena.
Wait, what is Carhartt? Like, I know the brand, but when you say Carhartt, what were you meaning?
Like jean shorts?
Yeah, like Carhartt shorts.
That's interesting. Because when you said Carhartt, I was thinking of like really thick.
I guess I should say
like
cargo
jackets.
shorts too, but I mean Carhartt cargo shorts is like what I think. When I think of John Cena, I think of a John Deere hat and Carhartt cargo shorts.
And then he's inexplicably rapping and wearing.
Yeah. He's definitely like yelling into a microphone, and the hat is bent like as far as like as much as it could be bent.
One of his personas when he started was Thugonomics. I'm not even kidding. His like intro music was basic Thugonomics or something like that. It was a white dude from Boston.
Dude, there's a rock movie coming out that's called Black Adam.
We need to end the show.
Yeah, we can take that out. But isn't that crazy?
I think we could black.
It's a Marvel movie, or DC movie actually.
We can. I think it might be time to wrap this one up.
Time.
Do you have shout outs, Tate?
Shout out to Bradley Beal. He's one of my favorite players currently that just yells at teenagers, and today was his birthday. So,
give me your top 5 yells at teenagers players.
I mean, he is hilarious. But he one of the famous speeches, Caleb Love, Carolina, guard, is in the video, and he literally, that video was everywhere today, and because it was Bradley Beal's birthday. So I want to shout out that it was his birthday, and 2, like that's one of my favorite videos in modern times. Bradley Beal telling a bunch of kids that like they can't guard him and that that they probably won't make it. That's amazing. I mean, I love a reality check every once in a while. So happy birthday, Bradley Beal. I still can't believe that video was someone filmed that, and then he also said that he's like cussing out poor dude.
We do. I should make a video like that. I just don't know what age I need to go to.
I think we should go to the local YMCA, have a team. We should get a team like at the local YMCA, so we're actually giving back in like Manhattan Beach. We should coach them, and then we should tell all their parents that one day, like we'll be great coaches, we'll like really work hard, but then we got to tell them that one day we have to shoot something for our show, and they have to sign NDA. They have to sign a blind NDA at the start of the season, and they're like, I wonder why these guys made us sign this NDA. They're so nice and they're working so hard, and their kids are having fun, and then one day we just cuss them out all out.
We're just a bunch of 8-year-olds.
You're like Bob Knight, and like you're just going crazy. You're throwing chairs. Like that's we're just like,
what is your what is your hot-headed coach move? Would it be punting a basketball?
Oh, I mean, I punted a ball in a game in 7th grade because Tracy McGrady did it, and I did it, and my mom did not like that. But
would you Mike Rice like launch balls at guys, like try to like play dodgeball with your team?
I mean, baseball, my move was like I was a catcher. I loved like kicking dirt on the plate. Like I always thought that was hilarious, you know, because like umpires love like wiping the plate off, you know, like they're doing something, but they're doing nothing. So I just love like being mad and just like kicking dirt on their plate on the way out, or like they call a terrible strike, you know what I mean? Just like kicking dirt at them. I have more baseball moves than I have basketball. I kind of was just like whatever, you know, like what you know. I didn't have that much.
Well, if you're coaching, if you're coaching and your team's lollygagging and you want to send an immediate
light
message,
a fire under them.
Yeah, what are you doing? I think drop kicking the ball is pretty much the move.
Yeah,
Coach Motti used to do that before he f***ed up his back and couldn't and like has drop foot in his foot now, but before that happened, he was a big drop kick the basketball guy, and I swear he wasn't even that mad. He was just like he had I swear like he had a meeting with the coaches before practice where he's like, anything else before you get out there and start practice, and one assistant coach was like, Coach, yeah, I just want to bring it up. So at practice last week, you actually set a record. Your ball went up to the 36th row. I just want to put that on your radar. And he's like, oh, really? Okay, all right, cool,
40,
cool, all right. And then in today's practice, he's like, we're going for 40. Just took the ball.
I mean, there is
smoke it into the
it's an exhilarating feeling to kick a basketball. You know what I mean? Like that's why Tracy McGrady, when he punted that ball in a game, I'm like, I feel that. You know what I mean? And when you're playing recess and stuff, right? Like if you get cheated in a game or you feel like it, like that's kind of a natural reaction to want to just punt the ball. You know, you're like, get this out of my face. So I like that move from Coach Mata. We got to go to a practice. I want to.
You got to see him in action.
Currently, yeah.
You got to see him in action. I want to shout out. My one shout out is Imani Bates, who says his decision is coming in the next month or so. So
will Imani Bates be enrolled in a school before the actual school year starts? That's the real question. I don't think so.
He will not be. Whatever team he goes to will have started practice by the time he gets there. I believe that they will officially have started practice before he gets there. And that team will be the Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah, I feel like he wants to go to Kentucky, but he ends up at Louisville, and it might be good for him.
Yeah.
Imani Bates to Kentucky makes a lot of sense to me. You know what I mean?
Here's what I know. If Imani Bates goes to Kentucky or Louisville, it'll be great for us. I don't know if it'll be good for him, but it'll be great for us, and we'll have a lot of fun. So.
And Tom Izzo was right. Tom Izzo knew the whole time. We have to give him his credit. Every time that we bring up Imani Bates, Tom Izzo knew something. He wasn't even hurt by it. He was like, yeah, you know. Things happen.
Anything else? Any other shout outs? Jim, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, I got a few. Russell Westbrook picked up a $47 million option to come back to the Lakers.
Worth every penny.
Congratulations. That's a guy who wants to play.
He does play every game.
There you go.
That's true.
Russell Westbrook is the one guy that everyone's like, you can take a night off for us. He's like, every night I'm a dog.
He's like, you guys vilify all the guys that don't play, but you also hate me. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, great point, Russ.
Russ, you're right. We should I actually love Russell Westbrook now. Using my own logic.
ESPN's Jeff Borzello released his way too early top 25, and he had Duke at number 5. Whoa. Kentucky at 4, Houston at 3, Gonzaga at 2, UNC at number 1.
Wow.
Tate?
Tate, your thoughts?
Yeah,
too high.
Put Gonzaga number 1. But I think it's going to be cool, Titus, wrapping it up to where we started with Bloomington and Indiana. Carolina being number 1 in the country playing at Indiana, and Indiana beats them in Assembly Hall.
Indiana's going to be ranked like 17th or 18th.
And beat Carolina. They're going to be top 10. Carolina's going to fall to like 4 or 5. They're probably going to be behind Duke because of the bias. Then Duke's going to expose themselves because they have a fraud as a head coach. And then North Carolina will be back, in March.
We are 100% going to that game, by the way. We are going to be at that game.
My parents want to come to the game. They want to meet your parents.
Do you want to
Titus experience?
Do you want to play Sink the Biz at Knicks?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
We played it already.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We have played it. Yeah. It's the greatest.
Yeah.
It is it's the greatest way to get strep throat on planet Earth. It really is.
Yeah, and COVID times.
COVID.
Yeah.
It's so good.
They're like, stay 6 feet apart, but get ready for this game.
Yeah. I love Knicks was like still open during COVID and all the
keep your distance.
Everyone's got a mask on, and then when it's your time to drink, you pull the mask down and drink out of the same cup, and everybody's. I love it.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're gonna go there. We're gonna have a busy stretch. We're going to Maui. We're going there. We're going to Madison Square Garden. We are the hardest working men in show business. You guys know that. We know that. We appreciate that all of our listeners. Continue to say that, Tate. Like everywhere we go, people come up to me and they're like, Titus, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, are you going to say, thanks for that article you wrote on Grantland that one time? Or like, I love you on Part of My Take or whatever. But more often than not, people are like, thank you for being the hardest working man in show business, nice. Co-hardest working man alongside with Tate. And we are certainly going to be that. But with that being said, we're going to take a couple weeks off from the show.
Yeah, we're gonna take a couple weeks off. It's vacation season.
We're going on vacation. See you guys.
Everyone enjoy your vacations, enjoy your summer, and we'll see you on the other side. And guess what will be happening then, Titus? We probably have no idea, but something probably far worse than now. So enjoy the vacation.
The world will be on fire, and we will come back and we'll open the show with like soft piano music and somber tones and be like, well. We're all gonna die, folks. But Robert Dillingham to Kentucky. How about that?
How about that? Imani Bates on the way? Question mark.
Yeah. You know what it is. We're such hard workers that we are going to take 2 weeks to prepare for the next show. That's what it is. I'm gonna go take 2 weeks and start working on my notes now. So that way when we come back for our next show, we're gonna knock it out of the park and everybody's gonna love it and they're gonna be like, damn. Will these guys ever take a break?
Yeah,
will they ever
do a deep dive on Slamball? That was unbelievable.
All right. Everybody enjoy the holiday. Enjoy some time off. We'll see you guys on the other side.